Hi, my dear students. Hope you are doing well. Welcome to this session. In this class, we are going to learn how to tackle strengthening questions which come from the section of critical reasoning. My name is Juhi Narula, and let's get started. So before we actually start solving the questions, let's quickly revise what we have previously discussed. We've talked about how an argument looks like. So any critical reasoning question will essentially have three parts, and those three parts include the first part is an argument. So let me just write it for you. So there are three parts to any question of critical reasoning. The first part, if we talk about, is an argument. The second is basically the question. The third part remains to be options. So we have in detail discussed about how argument looks like. So the author writes a small paragraph in order to reach to a claim or a conclusion. And in order to validate that claim or conclusion, the points presented by author are termed as evidence or premise. So let's take one example. I go to my boss and I say, "Sir, I need a salary increment." So this is the claim that I'm making. My next question my boss is going to ask would be, why should I give you a salary increment? So whatever points I present in order to support my claim, those points in technical terms I'll call evidence or premise. Both of these terms are interchangeably used. At times what happens is, since the argument is quick, there are logical flaws, loopholes, or gaps that remain. In order to overcome those loopholes, gap, or logical flaws, we take into consideration an assumption. An assumption is a hidden part of the argument, something which is not directly stated. Like the example I always give, if there is a match between India and Pakistan, cricket match, and we lose two wickets, Virat Kohli comes on the crease and you take a sigh of relief. So you are assuming that he is going to play well. So assumption is always implicit in nature. So this is how we go about it. Premise has to be always considered true. On the basis of the premise, we draw a conclusion. There are loopholes that will target the conclusion. Now, premise we can't negate because this is the result of some study or some facts offered. Conclusion we do not wish to negate because then the entire idea of creating an argument collapses if you are doubting the conclusion. So, in order to overcome the flaw, we take into consideration the third part of an argument that we call an assumption. Now you need to take care of this, that if we have to strengthen the argument, we are always going to reinstate the assumption. Okay, so our idea will be always to reinstate the assumption, right? So let's further see what lies ahead. Now when we talk about question solving, I always say that in quant we follow an approach, we have a logical methodology, and we stick to that. However, in verbal we most of the times try to solve the question without any thought process, without any approach. And I strongly believe that if you'll start applying a logical approach to so questions of a verbal section, you're going to see a lot of improvement in your scores. So let's see what should be the right approach to solve a critical reasoning question. The first thing is notice the question. Question acts as a bridge between the paragraph and the answer choices. I always say that. And once you are clear with the question, then exploring the argument will become an easier task. At times, what happens is students first read the paragraph and an argument, then come to the question, then go back to the argument again. So, this is how we waste time. Now, when we are dealing with a competitive exam, as we know in India, since the seats are limited and there is a huge competition, so we can't afford to lose time, right? This is how we let the time go, and this is simply something which should be avoided, right? So try to avoid rereading the entire paragraph again. When you are clear with the question, you know what you're supposed to do, then your focus would be more, you will be oriented towards reaching to an answer while dealing with the paragraph. So these are the words that you're going to get when we talk about strengthening questions. If possible, please note down these words. At times we get confused if we look around and find a new word. That creates unnecessary pressure, and that we wouldn't want. So whenever you get the questions like which of the following, if true, will strengthen the argument, support the claim made by the author, bolster the claim, justify the argument, reinforce the conclusion, right? Then we know that we are supposed to strengthen the question. So I'll give you 1 minute, open your notebooks and write down these words. This is one way of retaining things in a better way. So quickly do that, and then we are going to proceed further. So I'm sure we are sorted with the first step, which is to read the question. Let's move to the next step. Next step is to deconstruct the argument. Deconstruction means try to identify the conclusion and the premise. We already know that there are proper conclusion indicators that will help us reach to identification of conclusion quickly. At times we might not have conclusion indicators, we might have premise indicators. So just to revise, let's write the conclusion indicators. So conclusion indicators include thus, hence, therefore, or maybe as a result, consequently, right? These are conclusion indicators. And when we look for premise indicators, we might have since, because, acting as premise indicators for the argument. So look for these clues so that your role becomes easy, your job becomes easy to identify conclusion and the premise. So this would be the second step where we will deconstruct the argument. Further, try to identify the loophole in the argument. Why? Because if we are clear with the loophole, then it will be easy for us to identify the assumption. And once we are clear with the assumption, then in order to strengthen the question, we need to just reinstate the assumption, right? So, third step would be to identify the loophole. Loopholes are also termed as flaws. I'll write what are the other words that you might get: flaw or gap, right, or language shift. These are few terms which also point out to inconsistency present in the argument. Be careful about these words, right? Now, next step is that since we have identified the loophole, so in a way we are able to identify what would be the assumption in the argument. The next step would be to predict a possible solution. Now, if you have an answer choice in mind, you don't need to be very precise. Please keep this in mind that we are not supposed to create a statement which is appropriate without any grammatical error. You are using the best of the words. Please don't have any of such pressure. Maybe in a simple sentence, maybe in Hindi, the way you are thinking, in a very simple language, just try to predict what the answer should do. Usually, students bypass this step and without giving a thought, they would quickly jump to the answer choices. However, performing this step will help you reach to the correct answer quickly, and the confusion between two answer choices, that's a very commonly seen problem, will go away to a major extent. So, next step should be to predict a possible solution. Always do so. This will give you a lot of fundamental clarity, and you will know what should the correct answer look like, right? The last step is eliminate the incorrect answer choices. So I always believe in the process of elimination. You keep on eliminating the incorrect answer choices. Whatever remains shall serve as the right answer. The most unfortunate part is that students select the correct answer. However, in verbal, elimination is the best way. If you're going to learn the art of process of elimination, believe me on this, nobody can stop you to fetch the best marks in this particular area, right? So what are the grounds of elimination? Let's see the grounds of elimination. First, any answer choice which is having extreme language. By extreme language, I mean any statement which is presenting a claim stronger than the claim made by the author cannot function as the right answer. And whenever you encounter words like, I'll list down again after we discuss all the points, I'll give you 1 minute to pen down these words. Very, very important, a major tool for elimination. In fact, this tool also works for reading comprehension questions. All, always, none, only, must, never. Always be suspicious about answer choices containing these words. There's a high possibility that the answer choice is going to be wrong. I'm not saying outrightly eliminate, but always, be suspicious, skeptical about such answer choices. Then, of course, the next tool will be that eliminate answer choices which are irrelevant or out of the scope of the discussion. Now, we need to understand that the question tests us on our ability to evaluate the current information and take a wise decision. So, any answer choice which is, presenting an idea that's not discussed in the topic and is irrelevant will be automatically eliminated. Now, please don't try to reach to an answer based on your information, based on your knowledge, based on your prejudice, based on your opinion. As far as possible, keep the answer inclined to the information offered in the text, right? So these are few criteria of eliminating the incorrect answer choices. Please take one complete minute and write the pointers. Very, very useful. I hope we are clear with the step. Read the question, deconstruct the argument, look for the loophole, predict the answer, and eliminate the incorrect answer choices. So, quickly take a minute, note down these words, note down the elimination tools because you are going to really be benefited once you know these details. Write down, see, at times we hesitate, but when you'll solve the questions and you'll have the rules handy, it will really become easy for you to effectively reach to the right answer. So don't bypass the steps. Any suggestion that we give definitely is meant to be useful for you. So let's move to the question. So this is the first question for us. So I'll do some questions. In fact, two, three, I'll explain and then I'll give you a minute's time to try on your own and then we'll begin towards the discussion. So let's start with the first step, which is to read the question. Though it's very obvious in this discussion that we are doing all the questions based on strengthening, but still in order to inculcate the habit, I would strongly advise to follow the steps. The information above most strongly supports which one of the following? So this is the question which is asking us to strengthen the argument. So now let's take a look at the argument. Most antidepressant drugs cause weight gain. While dieting can help reduce the amount of weight gained while taking such antidepressants, some weight gain is unlikely to be preventable. So if you can see, this is having a cause and effect relationship, right? So what do we assume when we talk about a cause and effect relationship? That the cause is solely responsible for the effect and there is no other cause present, right? So that's what we assume. No other cause present. So any statement which reinforces this idea or that suggests that the cause is every time creating an effect would be working as the right answer. So you can see how quickly I've performed all the steps, right? And this is the beauty of applying the steps. You have an approach and this is just a myth in our minds that if you're going to apply the approach, it's going to consume a lot of time. No, rather, it's going to consume lesser time because now you know what is the path that you need to take, right? So let's take a look at the answer choices. A physician should not prescribe any antidepressant drug for a patient if that patient is overweight. Can you see, this is extreme answer? So we can eliminate this, and the reason that I'm going to cite would be that this statement is extreme in nature. Come to the second one. People who are trying to lose weight should not ask their doctors for an antidepressant drug. Again, this is irrelevant to the discussion. Also, just think of it. Are you going to go to the doctor and say, give me this medicine? The doctor is going to prescribe, right? So it's an irrelevant answer choice. B is again an easy elimination. As you can see, I'm eliminating and I'm doing a lot of scratch paper work. So keep this in mind that your pen should always be moving. We have this idea in our mind that we would want to do everything orally in our brains, but this is something that I strongly discourage. Always use your marker, write, mark, do a lot of scratch paper work. Again, I'm creating an analogy with quant section. You do a lot of scratch paper work in quant. In fact, believe me on this, I have seen students multiplying 17 into 3. So such basic calculations you also do. So when you do it in quant, you get great results. But when you do it in, you don't do it in verbal and then you struggle. So please do it in verbal also, right? Come to see, at least some patients taking antidepressant drugs gain weight as a result of taking them. So again, this is stating that the cause is creating an effect. So this is one possible answer choice which will help us strengthen the argument. Never ever take a final call till you eliminate all the answer choices. Please mark this, note it down in capital letters wherever you are writing or penning down the things. In case you're not penning down, please keep a small notebook handy so that you have all the relevant points written there. See, when you're seeing the discussion, you can still pause or I give you in between some time to write it down. But if you're not writing it down, what will happen is during your exam time, when you'll be too stressed, you'll be again watching the entire video. And then, again, we are not putting an effort in the right direction. So please pen it down and note it down that never take a final call till you are sure that the other four answer choices are incorrect. And that will only happen when you are navigating all the options. So come to D. The weight gain experienced by patients taking antidepressant drugs should be attributed to lack of dieting. Now, how can it be attributed to lack of dieting? This information is not there. Again, this is an answer choice which goes for easy elimination. Now, all patients taking antidepressant drugs should diet to maintain their weight. So, all is again extreme and irrelevant to the discussion, either of the points you use for elimination. So, we are going to mark C as the correct answer. Right? So, since we did it together, I'll give you a minute, a complete minute. Please try this on your own, and then we are going to move to the next question. Just see whether you are convinced with C. I'm sure you would be. Just get the process right, apply the steps, and get reassured that if you would have done it on your own, you would have still marked C. I'm sure you've tried. So let's move to the next question. This question also we are going to do together, and in fact, one more, and then I'll ask you to solve it first, and then we'll discuss. So we start reading the question. Which of the following, if true, would support author's claim? So it's a strengthening question. Now let's take a look at the argument. Wheat yield and quality is an outcome determined by genetic potential of the variety interacting with the environment. The same variety may perform differently on different soil type and rainfall regime. In the past, few options were available, and meeting the segregations available at a local silo often determined choice of wheat variety. So they are suggesting that it is just not wheat yield, but there are other factors also that are responsible for the type of yield, for the quality of yield that we are going to get. Yield is the output, right? Final product. Now any answer choice which says that other factors are also responsible for contributing to the quality of wheat would serve as the right answer. So this is the way we are predicting our answer. So let's take a look at the answer choices. The growth of gram in two regions remained same irrespective of different climatic conditions. Are we talking about gram? And this is a common error. Please see, we are not talking about gram. Either you say that, see, gram is irrelevant to the discussion, right? So please keep this in mind. This is irrelevant or out of scope, right? Please keep these tools in mind. At times students get too enthusiastic, but please understand we are strictly trying to incline our answer as close as possible to the text. Coming to the B answer, the agro scientists have suggested that in order to boost the outcome of the wheat crop, fertilizers should be used to provide necessary nutrients. Vital means something which is important, so I'm sure you know the meaning, but just to write, vital means important. Okay, for the crop's growth which the soil can't provide. So what should be the measure taken? That's not what the question is asking, right? So this is not helping me answer the question. That is the reason B goes out. Come to C, the high quality wheat crop when sown in the region with rich alluvial soil and favorable climatic conditions yielded best quality as claimed by agronomists. So this is reinstating the point presented in the argument, right? They're saying that other factors are also responsible. What are the other factors? Rich alluvial soil is one factor and favorable climatic conditions is the other factor. So that helps us reinstate the argument, and in a way it is strengthening. So we can keep this, and also this is matching with the predicted answer. So we can keep C. Like I said, please don't take a final call before you explore all the options. So let's come to D. The agro scientists have seen similar trends in rice crop as well. So the same reason, on the grounds how I eliminated A, on the same grounds I'm going to eliminate D. We are not interested in what's happening to rice or gram, right? So in a way, D also gets eliminated. Coming to E, a research paper submitted by eminent. Eminent is noteworthy, a person who has got a name and a reputation, right? So noteworthy, or a person who has got a reputation. Agronomists suggested that there are several other factors apart from environmental factors that determine growth and productivity. So we are more or less focusing on environmental factors, right? So this also goes out. So how are we going to establish the correct answer? By eliminating the incorrect answer choices. So our final call will be C. I hope we are sorted here. So let's move to the next question. Just read it once. Don't solve it, but I'll just give you a minute to read it, and then maybe you'll be more sorted when we'll discuss together. I'm sure you've read the argument, so let's get the discussion started. So the first step would be to read the question. I know I'm sounding redundant, but this is a way to inculcate the habit to follow the steps. Which of the following, if true, would most strengthen the medical doctor's argument? At times, there can be 2 to 3 opinions presented in the argument. So please pay attention to the question, that what is the goal of the question. The goal of the question is to strengthen the argument presented by medical doctor. So pay attention to these details, right? Otherwise, you're going to mess up. Now let's see. Medical doctor says sleep deprivation is the cause of many social ills ranging from irritability to potentially dangerous instances of impaired decision making. Most people today suffer from sleep deprivation due to some degree. You can see a proper conclusion indicator here. Therefore, we should. So, C means there is a conclusion here, right? We should restructure the workday in order to allow people flexibility in scheduling their work hours. So, what is the argument saying? Let's see, there are a lot of problems that are created with sleep deprivation. In order to resolve it, people should have flexible hours. So, in a way, what are we trying to reinstate? That if people are given flexible hours, they'll be able to, overcome the sleep deprivation issues, or their sleep will be sorted, so they'll not get any problem, right? So we know what our predicted answer should do. Now let's explore the answer choices. The primary cause of sleep deprivation is overwork. Are we talking about the causes of sleep deprivation? No. So this is out of scope, right? This goes out. Employees will get more sleep if they had greater latitude in scheduling their work hours. So that's what they're saying, that if you're giving them freedom, or if you're allowing them flexible working hours, then the problem will be sorted. So B we can definitely keep, right? Coming to C, individuals vary widely in the amount of sleep they require. Again, how do individuals vary? This is not relevant where we are asking that flexible working hours should be provided. So again, this is something which goes beyond the scope of discussion. Coming to D, more people would suffer from sleep deprivation today than did in the past if the average number of work hours worked per week had not decreased. Again, we're not trying to bring in any comparison between the data for the previous generation and the coming generation. Again, this becomes out of scope. Come to E, the extent of one's sleep deprivation is proportional to length of one's workday. We can't say, they are not saying to reduce the working hours. They are saying to make the working hours flexible. So this is one tempting answer choice, but don't get into the trap because of the point that I've discussed, right? So we will mark C as the right answer. Sorry, B as the right answer for this question. So I'll just write B here. Just take a minute and solve it yourself. Do it. Everybody, please do that. So let's further proceed and try this question. Now it's time where you take the baton, you try the question for a minute, and then we discuss. So let's begin with the discussion. Which of the following, if true, would most seriously strengthen the argument given above? Okay, so it's a strengthening question. At any given time, approximately 15% of all homes in Florida are on the market. In Texas, however, only 7% of all homes are on the market at any given time. Therefore, so there's a conclusion indicator, right? So I'm marking all these words so that you can pay attention while you read the argument yourself. One will have a wider selection of home to choose from if one looks for a home in Florida rather than in Texas. So they're giving a point, they are having a conclusion based on certain facts. So what are the facts? Are on the market means available to be sold. So 15% of all homes are in Florida. So you can say 15% of homes in Florida, they are always on a sale or in the market, and in Texas, the percentage is only 7%. So clearly, on the basis of the facts, we can say that you have more options available in Florida, right? So you have more, options, wider selection homes. So that's something which is pretty clear as far as the argument is concerned. Now, if we are supposed to strengthen the argument, let's see any answer choice which reinstates the idea should serve as the right answer. So homes in Florida tend to be less expensive than those in Texas. So are we talking about the cost? No. So cost is irrelevant, right? So this is irrelevant to the context. So what we can do is we can eliminate this answer choice, right? Coming to the second one, mortgages are easier to obtain for homes in Florida than for homes in Texas. Again, like the way cost is irrelevant. Now, what is the status of mortgages? Again, that's irrelevant. So we can eliminate B also. Now, let's come to C. The construction industry in Texas has reported significant growth over the past years. So, again, how is the growth happening? We are not concerned. So, irrelevant to the context goes out. The cost of constructing new homes in Texas is higher than in Florida. Again, the cost aspect is irrelevant. Now, this is the beauty of elimination process. You have eliminated all the answer choices. Whatever remains shall serve as the right answer. So the total number of homes in Florida is three times greater than the total number in Texas. So that clearly shows that you have more options available for the buyers. So we will go for E as the final answer, right? So you can quickly re-go through the question and then we proceed further. I'm sure we are sorted. Let's try this question. I'll give you a minute. Please sort this out and then we are going to discuss. Let's begin with the discussion. Which of the following most supports the claims of the critics of the plan? Right? So critics of the plan के idea को आपको support करना है. So let's see. To prevent overcrowding, last month the town zoning board limited the number of new buildings that can be constructed in the town in any given year. So that blocking was done or that limitation was imposed. The board claims that doing so will preserve open spaces and lessen the strain. Strain is pressure. Okay, so strain is pressure on municipal resources such as schools and garbage disposals. Critics of the change argue that the plan will harm the community or at the very least will fail in the purpose. So who are we supposed to support? Critics of the change, right? The critics of the plans. We have to support this particular argument that this is not going to do the benefit, right? So I hope we are clear. Now the question could have been how the board's claim can be strengthened or reinforced or justified, but here they are wanting to support the claim of the critics. So what are the claims of the critics? That the plan will harm the community. So any answer choice which suggests that the harm will be done, or how the harm will be done, will actually function as the right answer. So see, this is very clear. That is the reason I keep on emphasizing that question understanding is important. What happens is we know we are doing strengthening questions, but we are still making it a point that every time we reach to a new question, we are reading the question stem, because there is a lot of information that lies in the question. And if you're taking care of that particular little detail, your question solving will really become quick, easy, effective, and in given time, right? So let's see. Take a look at the fifth option. Fifth A option. Other towns have had mixed success. So we're not talking about other towns. This is irrelevant, out of scope. No new schools have been built in the 10 years. So again, irrelevant. Coming to C, property taxes in town are higher. So again, property taxes की तो बात नहीं हो रही, irrelevant. Under the new plan, developers may still erect apartment buildings. And that is the reason the plan is not going to work. And that's what we are supposed to do. And that's what critics are suggesting. So we can keep this answer choice. The nearest garbage dump is several miles above. So where is the placement of garbage dump? That is irrelevant to the discussion. So A, B, C, and E are irrelevant, out of scope. So the only choice that can be picked as the right answer would be D. Let's do it yourself, to try to do it yourself, so that you get the intent and you are sorted, and then we'll move to the next question. I'm sure we are sorted. So let's try this question. I'll give you a minute, and then we are going to begin with the discussion. So let's try now. Which of the following, if true, best supports the ideas that accidents of this type will continue to increase? So we are supposed to strengthen this particular part, right? So we get the goal clarity, right? So understand the essence of question solving or reading the question, that you know what you're supposed to do. So, in the past 2 years, a particular car manufacturer has experienced a rising number of failures in its safety features, leading to an alarming increase in accidents and deaths related to its car. So, what's happening, that there's a rise in number of failures of the safety features, so it's leading to more accidents and deaths. These mishaps have spurred several costly lawsuits against the manufacturer. मतलब लोगों ने उन पे केस कर दिए. In turn, these lawsuits have led to increased pressure by the company's management on the assembly line in order to produce safer cars. तो अब क्योंकि उन पे केस हो रहे हैं, तो जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट है उस पे ज्यादा प्रेशर आ गया है कि सेफ कार्ड्स को प्रोड्यूस करें। अब हमारा क्वेश्चन है कि एक्सीडेंट्स इस तरीके के इंक्रीज होंगे, right? So we have to support this idea. So please be clear what you're supposed to do. Now take a look at the answer choices. 5 years ago, the same car manufacturer received numerous complaints about the safety of its cars. So 5 साल पहले क्या हुआ था वो तो irrelevant to the discussion है. So what we can do is we can eliminate choice A. Now come to the second option. The cost of improving the safety features of the company's cars are quite high. तो ये कॉस्ट की अगेन डिस्कशन नहीं हो रही, सो वी कैन एलिमिनेट चॉइस बी ऑल्सो. Coming to C, a government body has just published a report stating that the safety features installed in the car are not the best in the market. अब गवर्नमेंट की रिपोर्ट कैसे आई, हमें तो ये पॉइंट को एम्फोसाइज करना है कि एक्सीडेंट्स इंक्रीज हो गए, तो सी भी हमको को सजेस्ट नहीं करता. Coming to D, the greater the pressure placed on the assembly line, the more frequently there are problems in the safety features. तो आप जितना ज़्यादा प्रेशर करोगे उसी और परफॉर्मेंस खराब हो जाएगी, यानी कि और सेफ्टी फीचर्स में प्रॉब्लम आएगी. सो दिस वी कैन कीप. अगर सेफ्टी फीचर्स में प्रॉब्लम आएगी तो इन टर्न देयर वुड बी मोर एक्सीडेंट्स, तो वी कैन कीप डी. The car manufacturer has already changed its production process in order to create safer automobiles. So इससे ये नहीं पता चलता कि number of accidents are going to increase, right? Please answer the question, right? So this also doesn't help us. So D is going to be the correct answer. I hope we are sorted. Take a minute and redo it yourself. So I hope we are sorted. Let's try the next question. Take a minute and then we begin with the discussion. Okay, I think this question is the same. Let's try this. So let's start. Which of the following, if true, will bolster the argument? That means you have to support it. So let's see. Out of the three vendors of pizza available in the cafeteria of my office, which includes spicy fun, tasty bits, and delicious pizza, three vendors, three outlets that are selling pizza in the cafeteria. The tasty bit makes the most profit. So the three names given, and tasty bit is making the most profit. The owner told me that this is because of the finest ingredients used in the eatables that makes his pizzas better. So this is clearly suggesting that profitability is because of the quality of pizzas, right? So there is a cause and effect relationship, quality, this is one thing, quality and profitability, right? So we can easily say that both these things are interrelated, right? So again, if you can see, this is having a cause and effect relationship. So if we have to strengthen such argument, we are going to say that, see, there is no other cause responsible, right? right? So no other cause responsible. So let's take a look at the options. The other two outlets have lesser visibility, so no other cause, this goes out. The price of food served in all three outlets remains to be the same. So again, this is ruling out a possibility of other costs. So we can keep this, right? Tasty Bits provides more offers, though irrelevant, because the moment we say other causes, we are going to weaken the argument. The ambience of the three outlets varies significantly. Tasty Bits has the most average setting. फिर अगर average setting है तो we are not talking about the same cause and effect. So this goes out. The time taken for order delivery is different for all the three, irrelevant to the context. So B क्या कर रहा है? B rule out कर रहा है कि कोई और reason ही नहीं है जिसकी वजह से the company, the outlet is making more profit, except that's using the finest ingredients and making the pizzas best, right? So I hope we are sorted here. Let's move to the next question. Try this. So let's begin. Which of the following, if true, will support the claim made by the author? So let's read the argument. The number of students who prepared for their engineering entrance exam from PACE did well as the ones who prepared from RACE. So there are two coaching names provided, PACE and RACE. PACE instituted 30% more success as students compared to RACE, successful students as compared to RACE. So therefore, any student who wishes to get selection in engineering exam should join PACE and leave RACE. So that means PACE is having more success rate than RACE, right? So anybody who wishes to do better should join PACE. So any idea that suggests that students of PACE are going to perform well will work as the right answer. Let's take a look at the options. PACE offers a month-long program for concept revision and strengthening, which helps the students to nail the entrance exam. So this is saying why PACE students are successful, giving a reason so we can keep in. The students who have joined PACE after leaving RACE were good performers. So institution को jump करना का context तो दिया नहीं, तो this is irrelevant. The top performers in entrance exams are students of RACE. तो हमें तो ये strengthen करना है कि PACE के बढ़िया करेंगे. So तो ये strengthen नहीं करेगा argument को. If the average students of race will join PACE, eventually the result of PACE will go down. Again, student का jump करना for one institute to other is not the relevant context to the discussion. There will be a diagnostic test conducted by PACE for the students who wish to join from RACE. Again, switching the institutes is not again very relevant. So the only choice that helps us reach to the point where we are strengthening the argument is A, where we say that the students of PACE are going to perform better in the engineering aptitude as compared to the students of RACE, and the reason is offered. So we can keep A as the correct answer, right? So let's move to the next question. I'll give you a minute to try and then we are going to discuss. So let's see which of the following, if true, will strengthen the argument. There's a bitter truth revealed about the modeling industry, as the victim said. They remain so they remain hungry and at times starved to remain thin. Clearly, is the conclusion indicator. It can be stated that models are ready to sacrifice even food to remain glamorous. Right? So we know the argument pretty straight, pretty clear. So any point which strengthens the idea would serve as the right answer. Let's take a look at the options. It's not only the case in modeling industry, the similar trend is observed among gymnasts and belly dancers. So we are not talking about other dancers. We don't know. It is not the comparison which is needed. So A is irrelevant to the discussion. Hence, I can very easily eliminate A. Coming to B, a recent model collapsed on the stage and reports suggested that she was on a crash diet that led to weakness. So you're giving an example where the similar cause created the effect, right? So this can work as the right answer. Like I said, never take a final call till you explore all the answer choices. So let's explore the other three. There's a lot of emphasis to stay fit, and it is not dieting but eating the right food. So this is not strengthening the argument. This goes out. There's unnecessarily a fuss created, as modeling industry is glamorous and attracts gossips and rumors. This is again not strengthening the argument. Models are paid well, so there is no problem to keep a dietitian to guide them about eating right. So solution is not asked. The objective is to strengthen that the problem exists. So the only answer choice that does that would be B. Right? So quickly retry the question, everybody. So I hope we are sorted. That brings us to the end of the discussion. Please do follow the steps. There are 5 steps to question solving. First is read the question. Second is deconstruct the argument. Look for the loopholes as the third step. Always predict the answer. And the last step is learn how to eliminate the incorrect choices. Hope you found the video useful. Please do watch the space for some more interesting videos. Take good care of yourself and don't forget consistency is the key. All the best. Bye.